It's raining! Conch. Why didn't you tell me it was gonna rain? We can't do our test outside anymore. Okay. Hello, Tito. Why didn't you tell me it was gonna rain? We were gonna do the 70-200mm video. Now we have to stay inside and I have to chase you. Are you gonna cooperate this time? Because we didn't get you last time. Maybe after you eat? Deal. It's been raining a lot, including this weekend. So I apologize from the last video and it looked like a Snapchat video because it was a Snapchat video. The thing is, you know, when you get new gear, you get really excited. So initially I was like, I'm gonna snap this, but it turned out I wanted a video after all. So I worked with it. Anyway, it's in the right orientation this time, that way you don't feel like you're watching a Snapchat video. So I was able to test it this weekend in a couple of circumstances. Running, walking at different focal lengths. That was not supposed to happen.
Mother bitch.
My gimbal got messed up. Okay. No problem. Let's fix this. There we go.
Mother bitch.
Battery's probably dead. I'll have to handhold it.
Mother bitch. Mother bitch.
So I was able to test it out at different focal lengths. I borrowed my wife, who's usually my second shooter at weddings, and I took pictures of her walking speed and running speed at 70 and 200 millimeters. Since it was raining, it was kind of hard to get any real action shots, as I don't usually do that anyway. So I was able to test eye autofocus, continuous autofocus with running, and there happened to be birds flying nearby, a couple of them actually, and I was tracking them, and I was pleasantly surprised and happy with the performance. So I'm going to show you images on the screen right now, and I'll make some comments about them as we go. And there's a couple of sections I want to talk about. So there's 6 things I want to point out about this lens so that you can decide whether it's a good option for you or not, and whether I'm keeping it and using it for professional services or not. Okay, so this is my first time using the record screen feature with the sound, so let's see how this works out. So my first test, I was so excited, like you saw in my previous video, and my immediate test subjects were my cats. This is Conchita. He is a troublemaker and scratches me a lot. It was a rainy day, and it has been rainy in San Diego for the last couple of days, so it was neat to see portraits of a pet, and this was a good sharpness test for me, and an initial test on continuous autofocus using the MC-11 and A7 III combined with this new Sigma Sport lens. So as you can see in this image, I did save it at a lower resolution, but it's big enough to print very large. So I wasn't worried about the size I saved it in. This was with living room lighting, so nothing fancy, nothing professional, yet you can see that the lighting is pretty decent, and you can see the bokeh, if you can see the blur quality, if that's what you're looking for. I'm not an expert on that, but it looks good to me. But here, the thing I want to point out is the sharpness. I'm going to zoom in, and as you can see, of course, this is a fully processed image. I'm not going to show you something raw that I wouldn't actually use. So this is what I have now. The quality is incredible. There's nothing else I can say. This lens is really sharp, and I was really happy when I saw the back of my screen with this lens. All right, next picture. God, I'm blinking. I made a little GIF out of that, you see? Oh yeah. So here I'm just following the cat around. Bokeh looks a little weird on the top left, but it's not too bad. I mean, it's carpet. You can't expect it to look beautiful. Here's my other cat. This is Elote. It may look like he's a troublemaker, but he's the quiet troublemaker. Let's say that. So if he's doing something, you're not going to see him do it. Really sharp. As you can see, there is some grain. It doesn't bother me, but like I said, it wasn't a professional shoot. This was at 5000 ISO, but it looks great. I mean, A7 III has great ISO performance. Here's another one of Conchita, troublemaker. Look at this detail. I'm just shocked of how good this is, because I just didn't have a high expectation for adapting this lens. But I mean, Sigma has been working a lot on the quality, so it shows here, and I'm really happy with this portrait of my cat. Here's another one. I like this one a lot because I got a little bit closer to the minimum focus distance so that I could get their eye. And you can see I may have been a little off, but still it's a usable image. I would print this, give it to my wife. There he's winking again. All right, this one was more to see like not a landscape, because I don't do that, but just so you could see the difference between the 200mm and 70mm. Colors look great. I mean, that's up to your editing anyway. But this is at 200mm. This tree was pretty far away from me, several feet. I'm not very good at estimating distance, but it's a good walk away from me. Yet the quality is really good right here. It's really sharp. It's beautiful. If you're going to use this for landscape, you're going to be very happy with it. All right, let's move on to the other photos where I tested the autofocus continuous with running subject. Okay, so overall I could say sharpness is excellent. I'm just going to say it right away. The other one I was going to mention was build quality. It's a heavy lens. It doesn't bother me. It's manageable for me. But you could feel that it's built well. They say it's weather sealed. There's the gasket. No complaints there. My other point was MC-11 adapter. When you connect it, it extends the lens a little bit. If you've seen Jason Lanier's video, you would see that he doesn't recommend using heavy lenses with the MC-11. If you are going to, because you probably get the best performance since it is a Sigma adapter with a Sigma lens, just don't hold the camera like putting all the weight on the camera. Always have a hand holding the lens, which is the way I shoot. The weight I distribute it on the lens with my left hand. So I didn't have any issues there of putting too much weight on the mount adapter. All right, moving on. This is autofocus continuous. This was at 70mm, and this is walking speed. And as you can see, the first shot is obviously in focus. The ones we're interested in are the next ones. So there we go. Sharp, sharp, sharp. This one's when she's running right past me at 70mm. I was shooting at a slower shutter speed, so that's why you will be seeing a little more motion blur, but she's actually sharp. as you can see right here. And this is right across from me. This was a shot I got from across. I just thought it looked interesting with the sunset. Moving on. All right, here we get to the running. This was at 200 millimeters. You can see it's sharp. This one is sharp, not exactly spot on, but it's good enough. Sharp. Keep in mind I was shooting at a higher shutter speed, which means my ISO was bumped up a little bit. That's why it looks a little grainy. All right. Okay, here I included this image so that you could see that at a certain distance, when it's close to minimum focus distance at 200 millimeters, you're not going to get the shot. This was way too close, and I didn't really expect the lens to focus at this distance while she's moving. So that's why I included this photo, not to justify it, but it was close to the minimum focus distance. This is just a shot for image quality. I was focused on this right here, this fruit. And you can see I'm pretty zoomed in. This is really good image quality from this lens. All right, here we go. These were faster moving subjects compared to my wife running. So I eyed these crows from far away. This is the first shot when I saw it. You see it's sharp. I'm shooting at 200 millimeters this whole time. And we'll see the sequence right here. So I'm following, I'm shooting on a medium drive. I didn't want to spray at high. But medium's usually good enough for me, for my purposes. But look, it's still sharp. This is the third, that was the third consecutive shot. And then this is when it flew right over me. This one's a little off. See this one? Off. I was panning at the same time. I'm not a sport shooter. I did my best. But the crow was flying right over me. All right, the crow went around and came towards me again. This time it had a partner and they were flying pretty fast. So I did some quick panning shots right here. And you can see they are in focus. I'm using, I forgot to mention, I was using flexible autofocus continuous in medium drive speed. You can see it's following them. And you can see how fast they were going because from there to here, the trees over here. And this one's in focus. I actually really like this shot. And that's it. At least for now. I will make one more video about this lens because I feel like there's more testing to do on it. I don't have samples of portraits, but I was able to test the eye autofocus on my wife. And it did follow her. I was able to set the button that they added on the lens to eye autofocus. You can do that in camera. You do not need to connect it to anything like that Canon updating plugging thing they have. Forgot what it's called. Yeah, I was able to set that up really quick in the menu, and just by holding it, it would focus on her eye and follow her. So that's that performance on that, but I will have more samples on actual portraits. Overall, as you could see, I'm happy with the image quality. I would use this lens, just by using those tests that I did, I would use it for portraiture. And I'd say I'm 80% convinced it could follow someone walking down the aisle. I will have to do one more test in a different scenario where I have either my wife or a model walk around at different speeds and do the same thing in a different scenario and with different lighting. But based on my test that I did, my quick tests, by the way, they're not expert tests, I was happy with the performance. I have to say I was impressed with the MC-11 adapting it so well. And they constantly add firmware updates, so I have no worry that they will keep doing that. Would I like it to be an actual FE mount? That would be great, but this works. And I think if you have the money and you have not bought the G Master, you should try it out, or at least rent it to see for yourself if it's gonna fit your needs. But at least for portraits and weddings, I do believe it works for me. I did try a little bit of video. It wasn't the greatest lighting, and it focused, but it was a little slow. So I wouldn't vouch for the video purposes. Maybe someone else can make a video on that, and I know they're starting to come out little by little. This lens is getting out there, and people are going to buy it. But I recommend this lens. I will make another video, and let me know what your thoughts are, and or what type of testing you would do, if any tests, if you rent this lens. All right, I hope you enjoyed the video. It's just a basic test, nothing expert, but it gives you a good idea of what you can expect right out of the box, literally. I've only had the lens for a couple of days. All right, thank you.